So last week we made the mini pumpkins. This time we're going to make the slightly bigger one. We're going to make our slip stitch and we're going to chain 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Then we are going to do half double crochets all the way along. So in the second chain we start, so that's 15 double crochets when you get to the end. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Then we're going to chain 1 and then we are going to do 15 back the other way in the back loop, and this is row number 2. So 1, make sure you're only going through the back loop because it gives a nice ridge on the pumpkin. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're basically going to be doing the same thing, just 15 half double crochets in the back loop, and we're going to get to 20 rows. So we've got 1, 2, we need to get to 20. I will meet you when we get to 20. And now we have 19 rows, so I'm just going to do the last one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Come on, you pesky little stitch. There we go, 15. Now we're going to snip our yarn, but we need to leave a tail to do the drawstring bit. It's probably a bit bigger than I need, but it'll be all right. So now we're going to pull that through there. And we are going to do our mattress stitch. So pop that through the eye of your needle and then pull these two bits together, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through the bottom of that stitch, and then we're going to go through that stitch, through that one, and through that one. It's literally just backwards and forwards. I always go through the back part of the stitch so that when you pull it tight you can't see the stitches. It just looks like it's part of the pattern. Well, other than the obvious colour change, it looks continuous. And through that one, and then I am going to go through that one as well. There we go. Give it a little bit of a pull. But yeah, can you see, other than the fact there's a colour change, you can't really see the stitching, which is what I like. But now we're on to the purse string part of it. So what we need to do is go back in and find a way to come back out. But you only really ideally want to go through one loop, because otherwise it doesn't tighten up as well. So I just try and find the loosest bit at the top to go in and out of. It's usually quite easy to find. I've made this yarn a little bit too, this tail, a little bit too long. I could cut it off, but I might actually not cut it off because it might be long enough for the next part if I don't cut it off yet. And I'm just trying to decide whether I will get another pumpkin out of the yarn that I've got left. There we go. So that I've gone around all the loosest parts at the top. So now if we pull this one, it will drawstring together beautifully. Might be a bit loose, don't worry too much about that, but if you use this end and you tie it, that will also help. We don't ideally want it to be loose, we'd like it to be quite tight, because otherwise the stuffing will come out. But there is a way we can make it tighter if it's not as tight as we would like. So that's what it looks like at the moment. What we are going to do is, I'm going to snip it quite short because I want to use that bit for the top. So I'm going to snip that one quite short. And because I've snipped it quite short, I'm actually going to put the needle in first before I thread it. And then we're going to thread that through the eye of the needle. And you, Pickle, get in there. And then we're going to pull that so there's nothing coming out at the bottom. Then we've got, it looks a little bit like a beanie, quite a cute one. But then we need our stuffing. Oops. So we're going to just, this might be a little bit too much, but we're just going to see what we can do with it. We don't want the stuffing to be too tight, because if it's too tight, it's hard to draw string together and it's hard to squish it into shape. I could probably do with a little bit more stuffing, but that is the end of what's in my bag at the moment, so I'm going to just go with it. Now, like we did on the bottom, we want to draw string the top, so just go in, out again around the top. I find that if I hold the stuffing down with my finger, it doesn't get all tangled up in what I'm doing and poke out the top. Let's keep going round. Almost there. And then we are back at the start, so I'm just going to poke that one in there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to hold the stuffing down and we're going to pull both at the same time because you don't want it to come out. And then, like we did before, we're actually going to tie a knot. That is still open a bit too much, so we're just going to keep tightening it as we tie it. And then we are going to snip. We're going to thread the needle, and we're just getting rid of these ends, so don't worry too much about it. I know there's a little hole opening there, don't worry too much about that either. Snip that bit off, and then we are going to use this. We are going to make a slip knot. We're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we're going to do a half double in the second chain from the hook and all the way along, so you should end up with 5 half doubles. And then what we're going to do is leave a bit of a long tail, and we're going to fasten off. And then what I do, you don't have to do this, but what I do is tie these two bits together. And now we're going to get our pumpkin shape. So what we do is thread this. I always do the shorter one first, I don't really know why. But thread this one in. And we're going to poke that one just through there. I'm not doing it in the middle, I'm doing it there. I will put the next one through the middle, and I'm going to go through straight through the middle at the bottom. But this is the best way I found to get the shape. And then with this bit here, you could go through the middle, or what you could do is, because there's a little bit of a hole there, you could go through the opposite side, because that would also tighten that hole. But when you come out the bottom, what you don't want to do is come out the same hole as this one's come out. You want to come out of a different hole. And then pull that bit through. And then what we're going to do here is make a knot. But don't do a knot straight away. Pull it tight first, because that's how you're going to get your lovely pumpkin shape. And then tie another knot. And then we're going to hide our ends. So we're going to snip this bit off and hide our ends. Oops. Pull that back out and snip again. And that is our slightly bigger pumpkin all made. Isn't it cute?